This is the list of all players who have been able to average at least 16 points, 8 rebounds, 2.5 blocks, and at least 1 3-pointer per game in all NBA history. Yeah, that's it. There have only been 2 in the entire history of the league, and both seasons belong to 2 current rookies who, as we can see, are having an unprecedented rookie campaign. But while one of them is making headlines around the world and being recognized as the NBA's new generational player, the other's not enjoying as much recognition. After his injury occurred during the summer of 2022, the hype about Chet Holmgren had been dying down, and that is really a problem, but for the rest of the league. But to understand the Thunder Center's potential impact, we have to go back to 2002, the year in which one of the players called to take the reins of the NBA was born. Chet Holmgren was born in Minnesota, and as in most of these cases, his family was the reason why the kid started playing basketball. In fact, his father, Dave Holmgren, was a player at the University of Minnesota from 1984 to 1988. Not only did Dave transfer his passion for basketball to Chet, but at 7 feet tall, he also gave him the genetics. Chet was already 6'2" when he began his high school career at Minnehaha Academy, a Christian private school in Minneapolis. But despite his enormous size for his age, his freshman season was far from easy. He averaged only 6.2 points and 3 rebounds per game during his first year, far from the exorbitant numbers we usually see when we look up at the high school careers of other players who have made it to the NBA. But there's an explanation. Not only had Holmgren joined one of the best teams in the country, which with little contribution from Chet, Minnehaha won back-to-back state championships, but there was also an event that changed everything. The center suffered a serious wrist injury that kept him off the court, something that's very frustrating when you're a teenager and your only desire is to play basketball as much as possible. But unwilling to quit on himself, Holmgren decided it was time to increase his shooting range. And this wouldn't be the only time the player would make the most of an injury. This improved version of Chet allowed him to become one of the most improved high school players in the country. During his sophomore year, he averaged 18.6 points and 11 rebounds per game, helping lead Minnehaha Academy to win its 3rd state title, along with current Orlando Magic player Jalen Suggs. Holmgren was already one of the top prospects in the country, having grown to 6'9" and demonstrating skills that a player of his size should not have in their arsenal. But something happened that would change his image, not only nationally, but worldwide. This video was shot during the SC30 Select Camp orchestrated by Stephen Curry himself, and it didn't take long to go viral. Those seconds of clip in which Holmgren uses one of the signature moves of probably the best point guard in the history of basketball against Curry himself began to circulate all over social networks. People began to wonder about the identity of the kid who cooked Chef Curry with his own move, and it wouldn't be the only moment in the spotlight in Chet's high school career. A year later in 2020, his team faced Sierra Canyon School, Bronny James's team, where Holmgren nearly posted a triple-double with 9 points, 10 rebounds, and 12 blocks. And during his senior year, he averaged 21 points and 12.3 rebounds per game, winning his 4th state title and earning multiple individual awards such as Mr. Basketball USA or Gatorade National Player of the Year. Obviously, the scouts were not idle while all this was going on. Holmgren was the most sought-after player in all of USA basketball during his recruiting years. Not by everyone, but by scouts and basketball insiders. A 5-star prospect with a 97 rating according to ESPN. He had up to 30 different Division I offers available to him for the upcoming season. The center finally decided to go for Gonzaga's offer, signing a national letter of intent, which was surely influenced by the decision of Jalen Suggs, his former teammate, who made the same decision as him a year before. Of course, it didn't take him long to prove he belonged in college basketball. In his first NCAA game, Holmgren had 14 points, 13 rebounds, 7 blocks, and 6 assists, being the first player to get a 10-10-5-5 in his debut in the last 25 years. Everyone knew that the center was capable of scoring, but what really surprised many NBA scouts was his defensive progression during his first and only year at Gonzaga, being named West Coast Conference Defensive Player of the Year. His freshman averages of 14.1 points, 9.9 rebounds, and 3.7 blocks per game allowed him to be a lock for one of the top picks in the 2022 NBA Draft, where he declared eligibility for April of that year. Chet ended up being drafted with the 2nd overall pick by the Oklahoma City Thunder. a team that was in a rebuilding process that had started a bit strangely, as the team had managed to qualify for the playoffs with Chris Paul just 2 seasons earlier. But this environment was going to allow Holmgren to stand out and have a lot of importance from the very beginning. However, just as the hype for the versatile center was reaching unprecedented heights, an exhibition game at the Seattle Pro-Am changed his career completely. It was King James who caused his injury, a premature welcome to the NBA moment that would sideline him for his entire rookie season, which was truly a devastating event for one of the best prospects in the world. He realized how his progression at a vital age could stall, but just as he did in high school, Chet made the most of his injury. The truth is that it wasn't the first case, nor will it be the last. There have been many players in recent times who have missed their NBA rookie season due to injury and have managed to relaunch their career a year later. In most cases, it happens to big men, such as Blake Griffin, Joel Embiid, Julius Randle, or Ben Simmons, who often have to be extra careful with the recovery since their bodies have not yet finished growing. But Chet has shown that he's going to be the next to join the list. Even if these injured players don't play any games in their rookie season, it's not a wasted season. It's a season with some of the best trainers and coaches in the world, allowing the player to get used to the systems much sooner and to make intensive progress before playing an official match. Holmgren is currently the leader of an NBA rookie ladder that, at the beginning of the season, had a clear favorite, and it wasn't him. It was Frenchman Victor Wembanyama, a player that if you haven't heard of yet, it means you've been living under a rock for the last 2 years. A center who was and is destined to change the future of the NBA, although maybe not alone. It's true that the Thunder center has landed on a team that's much more prepared to compete, more versatile, deeper, and honestly, simply better than the roster San Antonio has at its disposal. But Holmgren has been able to adapt his game immediately to an environment that, while offering him more space and less pressure due to the quality of his teammates, is also much more demanding. Oklahoma is currently second in the Western Conference, and the truth is that a rookie is their second best player. He's leading his class in most advanced stats, and he's capable of delivering an immediate impact due to his good understanding of the game. Chet is averaging 63.7% in true shooting, above league average, with a 21 PER and a 4.3 box plus-minus, which puts him second on the Thunder only to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, a unique player capable of stretching the floor on offense and being a vital anchor on defense. With ball handling skills, perimeter player athleticism, and the shot-making ability of an NBA veteran, there's nothing Holmgren can't do on the basketball court. And like Wemby, he fills all the necessary boxes to call him a true unicorn. But for whatever reason, neither the press nor general NBA fans are able to appreciate his contribution yet. As we've seen, Holmgren is being the second best piece of the conference's second-ranked team, which usually translates to a player who should be a clear all-star candidate, an accomplishment that may not become a reality this season due to the young center's lack of minutes, but at the very least, Holmgren should be in that conversation. Eventually, people forget. It's part of life. Consequences of a combination of factors of all kinds. An injury, a small market, a player with your same abilities emerging and conquering the world stage. The world we live in really does move that fast. And unfortunately, on many occasions, this is capable of shattering the dreams and aspirations of many players. But others are just different. Players that when you think their hype and momentum is past, they come back to remind you why it wasn't just hype. Chet Holmgren, without a doubt, is one of them. So the next time you see Chet's name in the news, he may just be the Rookie of the Year.